All right, we're gonna be watching Jiggumbob. That is a real thing, a real word, by the way, meaning like a trifle. Anyway, we're watching Jiggumbob, who is playing Brig. This is King's Row, Masters 4, and I think it's on PC. How I could have played this better as Brig. Played pretty badly this game. Anna doesn't need production, so I hold more forward, but end up just sprawling Ram, which isn't smart. There are a lot of mechanical issues, bashing in, missing many whip shots. I've only played support, Brig only so far, in comp for approximately 5 hours total, so I still brain off, mess up a fair bit. More macro-wise, how could I position better this game to do more than just brawl Ramatra? So this game's interesting. First of all, you know, I feel like an old geezer saying this. I truly don't understand how the matchmaker works these days. I cannot imagine somebody being in Masters after only 5 competitive hours. My perspective for like when you should be in Masters is it's like I don't know 200 plus competitive hours, like literally 25 to 50 times as many hours as this player has, which is like nuts. I, I mean, maybe it just leads more accurate matchmaking, right? Maybe if OP is like kill them in a quick play and you know they accelerate. I would say that their general reactions and APM look good. I think believably low masters. I think the other parts of their game are kind of the problem, which is what they're asking for help on. Anyway, with that aside, Brig is an interesting hero.
Um, One of the things that we talk about is that any hero can be one tricked to GM, and pretty much they can all be one tricked to top 500, which I say and I agree with. I think the problem is that just because you can one trick to top 500 doesn't mean there's certain games where you're like, yeah, there's pretty much no way to win this game. Even if you're a 51% winner, you'll get the top 500 eventually. You just need to play a ludicrous number of games to get there. So the problem with one tricking is sometimes you're going to get put in situations where like your hero really isn't the right choice, and not even like kind of a disadvantage. Sometimes it's like a severe disadvantage for the game situation, and then you're kind of in trouble. I don't know if this game qualifies quite as like unwinnable as Brig, but I would certainly say it's in the category of you're at a severe disadvantage playing Brig here. Why? So, Brig is not as generally versatile as most other heroes. Okay, she fits a relatively narrow niche as a bodyguard support. She's very durable, right? Between her extra armor, which effectively gives her more health, and her shield, and the fact that she has these like low cooldown, abilities, and that she can kind of move short distance quickly, and she has her passive healing, which requires no extra work to trigger on herself and her teammates, makes her very, very durable, right? Her whip shot, which is the most important part of her kit, allows her to reposition enemies, and repositioning enemies, or repositioning anybody, as we've already talked about, is extremely powerful in a game about positioning, right? That's the reason why Roadhog Hook is so strong, not because it does any damage, because it does like 5 damage or whatever, it's because it moves somebody where they don't want to be. Brig whip shot is the exact opposite of Roadhog Hook, where instead of pulling people to you, it knocks people away from you. And if you time it accordingly, it is extremely devastating. So, for example, a Winston tries to dive in, the whole team's like, syncing up with the engage, and then you whip shot him away, the Winston doesn't land your team, and all of a sudden, all the space that you create, plus his bubbles in the wrong spot, and then the entire attack melts. Okay? Something as simple as whip shot can completely win a fight. One whip shot can win a fight. And what's even better, Whipshot has a 4-second cooldown. So it's not even like, oh, this is the big, like, Honor Grenade, Baptiste Lamp, etc., which can turn fight. No. Brig can Whipshot all the time. Which means even if you miss the first one, you'll often get another opportunity pretty soon after that where you can do it as well. So Whipshot, crazy strong, right? I think one of the biggest, like, differentiators between higher ranked Brigs and lower ranked Brigs is that they're using Whipshot to actually reposition the enemy, not just to get damage in. So we were talking about, okay, this is why Brig is strong, right? She's super strong against dive, and her pack heals are great because they go through everything, right? They do a ton of heal, and they do it very, very quickly. They require no extra skill or sustain. Like, you don't have to like stare at somebody like in the RE beam, right? You don't have to aim. It auto tracks, right? Follows people around corners. Like, it can't even be interrupted by objects in the middle. Like, if someone runs around a corner, it'll still get to them. Unlike, for example, Kiriko healing. So, super great. Now, why isn't Brig played all the time? For the record, Brig does actually have a really high win rate, historically, as I recall. So why is Brig not played all the time? Well, the thing is, if Brig doesn't have any dive heroes to deal with, and doesn't really have anybody to use whip shot on other than for the damage. Like, nobody cares about being repositioned. Her value falls off a cliff, right? She's probably one of the biggest differentiators between being right situation, wrong situation. Like, her and probably like Winston is not quite at the level, but like in the general idea, where like if the situation is right, you're amazing. If the situation is wrong, you're terrible. Let's give another example, okay? Let's say the opposing team is playing like Sigma and Ash. If you whip shot the Sigma, does he care? No. He's like, okay, cool, you whip shotted me. I was probably within range even after you get whip shot me, but if not, I'll just take a step forward and keep attacking. It's not even like I do a ton of damage, so if you shut me down for a second, it's like, okay, wow, you shut down like 75 damage. It's not that big a deal. Ash, you whip shot me backwards. Great. Does Ash care? Does getting moved back like 3-4 meters make a difference to Ash? Not at all. She's a sniper. She's like, oh, okay, I'll just keep shooting, right? Same thing for Widow, same thing for Hanzo, same thing for Soldier, similar things for like Cassidy, right? Baptiste, Ana. There's so many heroes which literally do not care about getting whip shot in the majority of situations. Like the damage, yeah, that might make a little bit of difference, but you can't follow up on it. It's not even like, oh, wow, you did 80 damage. You might kill me with the next 80 damage attack. No, that's it. That's literally like after I do that, you're safe from me for 4 seconds unless somebody else can synergize with you. And what's even more problematic is even if I'm trying to synergize with my teammates, my whip shot might have actually made you safer. This is also a common problem with Briggs, is they whip shot somebody that their team's trying to focus, and then they miss their shots because the target gets moved backwards. So you have to be quite careful with whip shot in those situations. So Brig is the worst possible support to be playing against poke type lineups, right? Poke, spam, anybody who already wants to be far away from you and doesn't want to get close to you dramatically negates your value as Brig. Something to think about. So, let's look at this game, all right? Noting the enemy lineup. So the enemy lineup for tank has Ramatra. So Brig, great against dive, can be situationally good against brawl heroes, right? Where I'm qualifying Ramatra in a brawl category here. Why is Brig good against brawl? Well, again, she can push people backwards. Brawl heroes usually want to close the distance. You're looking at like a Ramatra, a Narisa, a Ramatra Nemesis form. You can use whip shot to kind of mess up their day. It's not devastating often in the way that dive is, because dive usually has very precise timings. Like the Winston comes in, he drops bubble, he stays around for 4 seconds, and then he leaves. If you mess up that timing by a couple seconds, that can screw up his whole attack. But a brawl hero is kind of running at you endlessly, right? They're just always pushing towards you. So pushing them back for like 2-3 seconds is not that big a difference. They're just gonna be like, okay, and then they resume, unless you had something to stop them to begin with. So it can be effective, but not nearly as effective as it is against dive. So for Matra, again, we can, in his mage form, right, staff form, the whip shot's not gonna do anything. When he's in Nemesis form, I can knock him back, which could add a little bit of value, but Ramatra has faster move speed when he's in Nemesis form, so not as good a value as you would hope, A. And B, Ramatra's actually quite good against Brig because a lot of your damage mitigation relies upon your shield. But the problem is Ramatra's punches go through your shield. So Ramatra's actually quite a good hero against Brig, and I actually enjoy playing Ramatra against Brig because it's very difficult for her to deal with you, right? She also doesn't have any really good burst movement, so your Vortex can shut her down completely. So, not good against Ramatra, right? Not terrible, but like not good. Junkrat. I can't really do anything against Junkrat, right? He's just going to spam my team. I can't stop that spam in any way. I can't contest space against him because he can still blow me up. He can destroy my shield pretty quickly, and he can damage me even with my shield up by throwing mines next to me and then popping them. So even when if I get low against most other heroes, I can hold shield, buy myself a little time for my other support to heal me, or like Inspire or whatever. Can't do that against Junkrat because he just throws a mine next to me and then pops it, and I'm gonna die, right? In addition to the fact that he can just break my shield very quickly. So I'm not good against Junkrat. Symmetra. Well, when Symmetra's in poke phase, just like charging her right clicks and firing them, can't do anything about that, right? Can't stop the spam, can't contest her from that range, nothing I can do. When she gets close, when she starts beaming, I actually can do something. In that sense, I'm actually one of the better heroes against her, so Symmetra really relies on her thin hitbox to hit, to survive, okay? Symmetra's a fatter hero, like a Cassidy-sized hero would get melted. But Symmetra's like really tiny, which means that a lot of attacks that require aiming, like most guns, for example, are quite difficult to hit her. Splash damage is great, which is one of the reasons why Brig is actually very good. You don't really care about Sim, you're probably not going to miss her at close range anyway. So you're going to hit all your flail attacks, you're going to hit the shield bash, you're going to hit the whip shot, which means you're a threat to one-shot her. Not really one-shot her, but like combo her pretty quickly. So in that sense, I think you're actually pretty good at close range, even when she has her beam.
The key thing is don't let her charge the beam on you. But like beyond that, I think you're actually pretty good against Sim, and you can keep Sim out of range. The problem is Poke Sim is actually pretty good too. Like those right clicks are dangerous. Do 100 damage a shot. You can two shot people at any range. There's nothing you can do to shut that down. All right, next Baptiste. Can't do anything against Baptiste. He is way better than me at medium range and long range. I literally can't do any damage to him, right? He can constantly apply damage pressure. He can constantly heal at the same time. And even if I get into close range, he's so tanky that I'm not even guaranteed to win the fight. And that's like basically, if I had to cross a battlefield, right, to go fight you, like while you're shooting at me, and then when I finally get in range, it turns out you can also beat me in melee combat. That's pretty much the worst of all worlds in terms of Brig against Bap, right? He can wear you down from a distance, and then once you get close, you're not even advantaged to beat him. Like, there's a lot that has to go right for you still to win that fight against Baptiste because he's so tanky. So, yeah, not a great matchup. And then we have Ana. Also not a great matchup. She's usually playing outside of your effective range. You can't shut down her healing. You can't shut down her damage pressure. She can sort of damage pressure you. You can put shield up, right, which definitely helps, it takes her a while to break that down. At close range, winnable potentially. I'd say maybe slight advantage for Brig. The problem is she has grenade and she has sleep, and you gotta somehow, you can get hit by one of them, but not both of them. So most likely you'll block sleep, and not block nade, because it's quite hard to block nade, and then you can probably win the fight. I would say you're only still like 60, if your advantage is like a 60% advantage at most. So not great. So if we look at the whole lineup, you just can't really do a lot to any of them. And I'm sure your idea here was to bodyguard the Ana. You can also provide consistent healing to Tracer and Echo. Like, I think this lineup works. Your lineup works on paper, but if the enemy team has nothing that you can do anything about, you're kind of useless. So we're gonna come out here. Again, one of the things that OP asked for was like more macro-based stuff, so we're not gonna worry so much about the micro. There obviously is a lot of micro stuff to focus on, but we're gonna focus mostly on the macro. So let's look at the situation. You, at this point, should know the entire enemy lineup. It's past 15 seconds, so you can just hold tab right now and get the enemy lineup. So what's the goal right now? So we're coming in here. There is nobody on the right side, so I don't have to worry about clearing the right side. There's nobody at the statue here, so I'm going to worry about here. The Junkrat's over here, but he's spamming. But unless he goes over here, I can't do anything about him. The number one priority here is the Symmetra, right? And to a lesser extent, the Ramattra. The Ramatra's not paying attention right now, which is great. The Sim is trying to charge her beam off of your Rhine. I'm sure your Rhine wants to kill the Sim, but A, he's low, and B, he has to worry about potentially getting caught in the room. If I'm you in this situation, I actually push the Symmetra pretty much right away. So you see right here, when I come through the choke, I don't know. See, you're like quite slow getting through the choke too. Why are you so far back? Oh, because you guys have slow blood vortex. Okay, so I'm coming up with the Rhine right now. So as I hear this charge, right, I see the beam. I don't go to the right. Like drifting to the right, I think is a mistake. There's literally nothing to do on the right here. Right? Even if you're trying to fight the Junkrat's going to beat you anyway, so you don't want to take that fight to begin with. I'm going to stay with the Rhine here, and I'd be like, oh, okay, what's going on? Oh, there's a Sim here. I shield bash in, right, and I start trying to take this fight. Do I win this fight? Probably not, especially with the BAP there. But the thing about King's Row first is that you got to take some risks, okay? But risks are okay because your spawn is right there. So if you die, it's like not the end of the world. But if I bash over here, start doing damage, and the Rhine reads that I go in, and he charges the Sim as well, the Baptiste cannot save the Sim, right? So if both of us are on the same page, we commit in, we kill the Sim, because the Sim's out of position right now if we both go. If only one of us goes, then it's probably not going to work. But if we both hard commit here, we kill the Sim before anyone can do anything about it. And the Ram comes in, he tries to do something, but then we kill the Sim already, then we can deal with the Ram, right, Baptiste, etc., whatever we need to do after that. So I think number one, you could take a risk here by trying to push the Sim in Hotel. A. Ideally, you can do it without Shield Bash, but I think that's unlikely to be done. But beyond that, you really don't have any other job right now until the Ramatra is looking for Nemesis. I would be looking here, right, when you look at the enemy lineup, be like, okay, what can I do against this hero? Nothing. What can I do against this hero? Nothing. What can I do against Sim? Maybe something, depending on the situation. Junkrat? No, don't want to mess with him. Ramatra? Only in Nemesis form can I do something. Other than that, totally useless. So I'm primarily keying in on where is the Sim, how can I deal with the Sim, because I don't need a bodyguard here, right, which I think you identified. There's no pressure on the Ana this game at all.
So all I need to worry about is how do I create space as Brig. Again, this is way harder as Brig in this situation than like any other support. Like Zen here would be great, Kiriko here would be great, Baptiste here would be amazing, right? Lucio here would be great. Like you had a lot of options. Literally all other supports, even Lifeweaver arguably gives you more value here than Brig, but fine, it's fine. So, we're focused on Brig, right? What can we do about Brig? Again, I think you need to have engaged the sim by now. Now, she's got a fully charged beam, I don't want to mess with that. But when she was charging the beam in stage 1, I could have gone after her. At this point, like, things are bad for us because we need to wait out the charge of the beam. So you're going to go in and take right side, which is like, okay, but like, what does this accomplish? Like, how does going to the right help you win this fight? Your team already had high ground control on the right anyway. And it's not even like it was such a struggle for you to heal them from here. Like, you don't need to go right. See? Like, the important fight is happening here to the left of the statue at Hotel, where your Reinhardt and Ana are trying to fight against the Sim, the Ram, the Ana, and the Bap. That is where your focus should be, because, quite frankly, you can't affect this. Even if you went to the right of statue, you're not favored against the Junkrat. Right? With 2 supports and LOS, like, he's just gonna blow you up. You have literally 0 chance. Even if you're GM Brig and I plop you right here, you're not gonna kill this Junkrat. No way. No chance. Like, you're not accomplishing anything by going to the right. You need to focus on this fight to the left and looking for particular timings where you can engage. So right now, you could have already gone to the sim earlier, right? But at this point, if you're playing where I would play, which is like, hey, somewhere back here, maybe over here, I'm looking for, okay, Ram's looking for a bully. Okay, well, okay, fine. So we get slept, swing a little bit, Ryan misses charge. Okay, that's fine. So I'm looking to go in with the next push. Right now, where it's like, okay, Ram's punching nonstop. Okay, this is fine. I don't want to whip shot right now because my Ryan's in range. Now I want to whip shot to make sure the Ram can't come back and kite. So this, what's happening right here, is the Ramatra. Well, he's doing it poorly, but he's trying to kite the Ryan by punching him while staying out of range. If you play tank, you would know this like intimately. That this is like a very frustrating experience because Ramatra's faster than Ryan in Nemesis form, so he can keep punching the Ryan, and then when the Ryan backs up, he can step forward, and he'll constantly stay out of hammer swing range, kiting back and forth. It's very annoying to deal with as the Ryan. As the Brig, when you recognize this is happening, you can just whip shot him out of range, and that gives space for the Ryan to actually disengage. That's what you're looking for. All right, that's number 1. Number 2. Ramatra no longer has Nemesis form. He doesn't have Nemesis form for another 7 seconds. So that's 7 seconds for me to do pretty much anything I want, right? The Ramatra's the primary threat to me. So for 7 seconds, I want to be doing something. That could be attacking the Ramatra, right? Probably not here because of all the targets. That could be taking space here and probably threatening the supports, right? I want to squish them all in towards phone booth, right? This is phone booth. I could take Hotel here, right? I could threaten the BAP, because if I'm within shield bash range of the BAP, he has to respect that. So then instead of looking at his Ram, he's looking at me and being like trying to poke down my shield or whatever it ends up being, and I want to compress them into that space. So you could take Hotel here, right? You could look for an opportunity to like push towards this way. Again, not a good idea against this particular lineup, but you could just stay ready with your Ryan, like stay like hip to hip, basically like right on top of your Ryan, ready for him to make a play. You've got some options here, but playing way back is the worst option because this is the moment where you actually have space to do something. All right, you're on as low. You do recognize it in a second. You take way too much damage there. Missing that whip shot is brutal. You can't climb if you miss whip shots on tanks. I'm just going to be like straight up here. You cannot climb if you miss whip shots on tanks. To be fair, I think he gets bumped here, but just noting that. But you do mention the fact that you miss whip shots too. So, one thing to think about here, you're not going to win a sustained fight here. They have an Ana and they have a Baptiste. They have way more healing over time than you do. Brig is a burst healer and a super long-term sustained healer. Because Inspire gives like 15 health a second. But the thing is, Ana heals for like 92 health a second, and Bap heals for, I want to say like 80, 85 health a second. That's double the healing that you're going to get. You just can't, like, you can keep up with it for like 5 seconds maybe, and after that, they're going to overwhelm you. So you can't sit here and think, we're eventually going to win this fight. If you're on their side, you think you can. Like, if I just keep the tank up, we win this fight. You need to do something to help swing this fight in your favor, or else you're at the mercy of your team making a play, which is a bad thing. But right now, you have no packs, right? You see, like, you've already lost the Sustain War. Your Ryan's at half health, and you just got your first pack back, right? And now you're forced to pack him, right? And then, like, now what? Like, look at the fact that the opposing team's all full health right now. There's, like, no way to win this fight. Like, you don't really have a win condition here. Your team does go Farah, which is a great idea because they have no hit scans. So you go over here and you take the spot. This would be a great idea if there's something you could do with this spot. Like if you're Kiriko here, this would be excellent. You could, attack from the off angle. You could make them all try to take cover. Like you would force these guys either to phone booth or to hotel where they'd be in danger of your Rhine, which would be great. If you're a Baptiste, you could do something over here, though it's dangerous because you get pushed, right? Like a Lucio even. But right now, if I'm the Ramatra, I'm like, great, the Brig is taking the space to the left. I literally don't care. Because you're not a threat at range. Like you literally, like even if I'm like, oh shoot, you're rotating all the way through the mega room. I don't think anyone here cares. You're just not threatening. This is like the core problem, or I would say the weakness of Brig's kit. She has no threat potential outside of like 5 meters, where she can shield bash in and suddenly start killing somebody. Other than that, I can ignore you. If I'm the Ana standing on point right here fighting, and you're just staring at me right here, I do not care. I would just be like, okay, cool. I'm just going to keep healing or damaging or whatever I am until you engage. Oh, you engage? Okay, shield, like grenade goes down, let's fight it out. But taking the space does not help you at all. Okay. What should you be doing instead? I mean, again, it's tough because Brig here is tricky, but I would be playing with my Rhine, waiting for Nemesis to pop. All right, now he's looking for the kite. This is a moment where I could shield dash him backwards against the wall, buy my Rhine a little bit of time. Now that he gets nanoed, great. Now I go in. Now I commit. With nano popped, I have to think about committing right now. But the problem is, he goes after the Ramatra, who immediately pops Annihilation. I'm like, okay, never mind. Then I just leave because nothing's gonna happen here. Like we just need to chill and just like play this out. But like you sitting over here is not gonna do anything. But on the other hand, like what are you gonna do? And that's just a limitation of your kit. For the record, your Ana's being chased right now, which you should have realized. All right, you go for the supports, so this is good, right? You recognize, okay, the Rhine finally creates some space. This is a bad time to whip shot. So he shatters, and your whip shot knocks him away from the Rhine. So not ideal. Anyway, you go over here, you're engaged in supports. Okay, good, right? This is what you want to be doing, right? You finally got an opportunity. I think there is no reason to miss that whip, this flail. So this one, I think you missed him, right? You got to stay connected to the supports, right? This is like your key moment where you got to be there because that is like your one and only window to do anything here. By the way, this is why it's so hard to balance close range versus long range heroes, is that long range heroes can always do something, but close range heroes can do something only sometimes. But if you make them devastating at close range, then everyone just plays close range heroes because you can't consistently pick them off before they get to you. Alright, so your Rhine has gone Winston, which I think is fine. Right? Alright, keep the Ram back. So I see my Winston is what's called staging, where he's getting ready for the next push. I need to get ready for him to dive, because when he dives in this lineup, I need to go. I would actually say this is relatively rare. Generally, Brig is too fragile to dive, but the problem is you literally have nothing else to do. Like, your life is worth so little right now. Like, you're worth roughly 50 to 60% of a typical support because of how little value you can get against this lineup. Like, there's nothing for you to do, so you might as well take risks here. So in this situation, you should be already be pushed towards Hotel, holding Hotel here, scaring them, and making it easier for your Winston to engage. Then you pack him, right? And then you guys engage in, and then you dive, and hopefully you win. But rotating this way takes too long. Unfortunately, or rather fortunately, your team managed to get kills anyway, which is great. Alright. You're packing. So I don't think you need to worry about capping here. I would worry about keeping everybody up. Right? Your Ana can cap here. Like, you capping is not going to make it go appreciably faster. I just don't want anybody to get picked out here. So, which is exactly what's going to happen. Again, this is common in lower ranks that people are obsessed with trying to like stay on the point or payload to cap as fast as possible. That's almost never the right call. The right call is to continue advancing with your team to prevent any chance of a recap. Staying on the point allows the enemy team to regroup and then contest. You should be pushing with your team right now. So for example, you're going to let the Tracer die right now. Right? You got another pack right now. The Tracer is still low. Right here, you can conceivably pack. She ends up dying to the Ana, but like you don't know that it's going to play out exactly that way. I'm not standing here. I'm standing up here because I recognize that I'm in no danger because the Winston and the Tracer were in front of me, right? Your Inspire here even. Inspire Radius might even be enough to keep the Tracer alive right now.
59, 78, 58, 38. Oh no, she gets pretty low. She's like just standing still in the corner though, which is a bad call. But see, you see, like you realize you made a mistake right away. Going to the point is not going to matter. Keep the Winston alive. You heard this, yeah. Like just stay with the Winston, right? The Winston's being quadruple teamed right now. Just stay with the Winston, right? Use whip shot to proc inspire. Keep your monkey up, right? Inspire has a really long radius, so you don't need to be that close. Like here is like just fine. And then okay, they're pushing in. Now I can whip or shield bash away. So you pop rally here. The thing is, like, what is the point of rally at this moment in time? First of all, you should have whip shotted right away, right now, right? I see he pops Nemesis, I whip shot him right away because I don't even want him to get in range. But because you're just like a little slow, you take that first hit and then the second hit, and then you whip shot him away. So a better Brig here has 160 more health because they would have whip shotted right away and immediately got out of range. So that's just kind of like the reaction speed is not just there for what I would expect out of Masters, number one. Number two is, what is Rally going to do here? So we lost the Tracer, right? We saw the Tracer die. The Pharah is out here, but the Pharah has no LOS. So who am I popping Rally for? The Winston's at full health. The Ana's completely safe. I'm also safe here because I can just shield bash away at any moment in time. So there's no need to be doing this, right? It's like, okay, great, you go up and stun him, but he's Ramatra and Nemesis form, he can just hold block. And that's exactly what happened. He just holds block. Winston, worst single target damage tank in the game. Me, very low damage. Ana, reasonable damage, but she's just going to have it get blocked. Plus, they have two supports over here pocketing him. This isn't going to do a thing. Right? So if we're talking macro stuff, this is a terrible ultimate. Like, this ultimate gives you no value. So like, I'm sure what you're thinking is, okay, like, we're going to be able to cap out of this, but, like, the rally is not going to make a difference. I want to play back, and I want to wait and see what's going to happen. If he engages towards my Ana, and my Ana can't get away, then I'm thinking, and I can't whip shot him away, then I'm thinking about popping rally. But this rally is popped way too early, right? Look, at this moment in time, you only have 2 seconds left of rally. The only person who's threatening your team was a Ramatra. It's a very bad rally. Alright, tire gets popped. Okay, great. You guys going to cap? Okay, cool. So we're moving forwards right now. Right, pack. So you should be looking to basically, in this situation, you're looking to throw whip shot basically off cooldown because you just want to keep Inspire up non-stop. No picks are going to happen right now. Like, there's no way that Winston's going to kill anybody. The Zen is the only option, but he's like way too far away. Like, I would just constantly whip shot the Ramatra here to farm ultimate and to farm Inspire. But the Winston's going to die here, which I think is a mistake. Oh, he gets like completely blown up by the Zen. I don't know about that. I feel like he should have lived here if you packed him again. Does he have an active pack on him? It's kind of tricky. I think packing him right there was probably a key. You kind of need to pre-pack people because of the healing over time. I think you should have pre-packed him already, and now this one is like, should have been your second one. Yeah, I think you should have been. I think a higher ranked Brig keeps the monkey alive through that, especially to have triggered Inspire earlier. Did you even have Inspire up? Wait. So we're engaging. Yeah. So right here, we're turning in. I'm looking to proc Inspire as soon as I possibly can. The moment the shield goes down, I'm popping whip shot. Yeah, right now. Yeah, you're just like a little slow on everything. But yeah, I still think you could have saved the Winston, but it would have been close. All right, we're going in again. So I would note here that unlike I get with Ramatra, I had to be careful following the Winston because the Winston has an escape plan. He can be like, oh, things have changed. I can just jump out. The Reinhardt doesn't have that opportunity, so the Reinhardt's going, he's committed, but the Reinhardt's also a lot more dangerous at close range, so I'm safer. Like, a Reinhardt and a Orisa here makes me quite safe. A Winston or Doomfist or a Ball here, I am not safe because I can't rely on the tank to reliably intercept the opposing Ramatra. So I need to be quite careful right now. You coming forward right now is dangerous because as the Ramatra, if he pops Nemesis and or Ultimate, I am in grave danger. So he pops it, and now I need to get out. And you die. This is a huge mistake. There's no reason for this to have happened. I think you knew that he didn't have Nemesis, right? Because we saw that was on cooldown. But, like, you're just too far forward for so little gain. You did 35 damage a hit. You know? Like,
That's not changing the calculus of how a fight's gonna play out when you're hitting a tank. Hitting a squishy, yeah. Hitting a tank, this is like nothing. It's like a tickle. Like I don't care that there's a Brig hitting me because it's not gonna change any of my decision making at all. You going up here to just try to get some flail swings in, puts you out of position, and then you get three-shotted by the Ramattra. I would also note that you should have had shield bash here to get out, but the problem is you're way too late. The second this goes off, I immediately turn my shield bash out. Right? But you take way too many hits. You're just a bit slow, right? All the time for Masters. Like you're just like half a second plus too slow. For what I would perceive Masters to be clear. Alright, we're coming out. So Cassidy's here, right? I saw him fighting the Tracer. So this is actually a situation where you pack the Tracer, and then I commit. Why do I commit here? Because he's already shooting my Tracer, which means A, he probably doesn't have full ammo, B, my Tracer can probably help me here, and C, my team is committed anyway. Like, this is like a do or die fight. Like, me surviving doesn't matter at all. I commit here. Like, this is your opportunity to commit. So, Winston dies, Tracer recalls, and then now it doesn't matter. To be clear, if you committed there, you probably die. And maybe you kill a Cassidy, but you probably die. But who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, your spawn's right over here, you're gonna be back again. You have to wait anyway. And this is what's really important to note when people are like, oh, you should stay alive, stay alive, stay alive. It is important, but it lacks nuance. Because it's only important to stay alive when it matters whether or not you're alive. So, for example, you know, if it's a 5-on-1, right? And they're like, you know, and like the other four of my teammates have been killed by like a grav, it doesn't matter if I stay alive or not. Like, I might as well just die right away. Me escaping literally doesn't matter, other than like the 200 points of ult charge is like irrelevant. Same thing here. What I want you to do is think, hey, is there an opportunity here? Because frankly, like, I have so few opportunities that I really need to make use of every single one. Like, I don't think this is a great opportunity, but it is an okay opportunity. It's a chance for me to do something to influence this match. And let me step back a little bit. This match is not close at all. This, I think you win literally one 5-on-5 fight the entire game. Right? You lose all the fights on defense, and then on offense, you win just the first point. That's it. It's like, it goes very poorly for you. This is a super one-sided fight, and a big part of that is because like you just don't have any impact on Brig. So again, I really think that you should have committed there, right? A pack there saves the Tracer already, and I can just commit on the Cassidy and hopefully get the kill. Because getting a kill right now is big. Even if I only have a 25% chance of killing the Cassidy, I go here. Because if I kill the Cassidy, I'm going to respawn and be back here before the Cassidy is. Because the Cassidy spawn is all the way over here. Like, it's so far away. So it's okay for me to take risks. Like, when I do things in my head, like, I don't know exactly how things are going to play out. Everything I do is a risk versus reward calculation. Okay? What's the value I get from doing this versus what's the chance that I will get punished for doing this? And having that type of awareness is really important to climbing. Especially once you start hitting the upper ranks where, like, you can get pretty far, like diamond-ish, just using your abilities correctly. Like, oh, this is a scenario where I use the ability? Great, I use the ability. And I know how to use the ability correctly. That gets you a tremendous amount of value, and I talk about that in like lower rank videos where I'm like, look, if you just use your grasp, your shield, your mines, whatever correctly, you're pretty much gonna climb. But once you start heading to like Masters Plus, you need to actually think like trade-offs all the time around what I do, where I go, every step I take. Really, really, really important. All right, so we're over here. Not a lot's happening right now. For the record, you're gonna pop whip shot here into the sim wall, which it does not penetrate walls if you didn't know. See, this is no good. I think you knew that because you mentioned it later, but I'm just pointing out that it's no good. So I understand why you shield bashed here. You also heard Nano, but the timing here is tight. But the correct move would actually be to stay here. It's actually a big deal that you're not here because you don't have only lack one bash go forwards. You're also one bash away backwards. So this is like a double whammy. But it's really hard for you to have known that was going to happen. I would strongly consider popping rally here if I needed to, but it actually ends up working out okay.
All right. Sorry, you win 2 fights. You won that one. All right. So Roadhog in on the right. I would be thinking here, how did your Roadhog even get over there? He just walks across. So in this situation, right? Let's imagine that you're not playing here. This is bad. Like there's no reason to be playing over here. So remember, you have a shield, so like you can play further from cover than most other heroes. So in this situation, what do we think is going to happen? I think their team is going to regroup, and I think their team is going to test somewhere around this area. Me being over here is not going to help me at all. Again, Brig is not actually that great as a healer per se. Like, her healing is fine, but it's not like the star power of her show. It's really about her repositioning and the threat that she can bring from people at close range. That's like the big thing for Brig, right? Being able to save people, being able to situationally brawl, being able to knock people back. I can't do those things if I'm in this room. Like, the only person I can see here is the Ana. So if you're gonna do this, you might as well stay on cart, which you shouldn't be on cart. But this gives you no value. I want to be playing up here with the Roadhog because I don't know what is going to happen, but I want to be in position to react to it. So for example, let's say the Roadhog hooks the Zen here, but the Zen's being pocketed by the Ana, so the Zen is able to just walk away and live. I can't get that kill if I'm here. If I'm here, I see the hook, I immediately shield bash in, I commit and kill the Zen. Right? Like, that's the kind of thing you can do when you're in position. You're too passive right now, which I think comes probably from a background of like staying alive, etc., which will work in a lot of games. Probably 70% of Brig games, the right call is simply stay in your backline, stay alive. You can win the game that way because that already provides a lot of value. But in this game, it's not going to work because they're putting zero pressure on your support. So you really need to be playing here. So I would have strongly considered following the Roadhog, like shield bash here, hold shield, use the Roadhog as like cover if I need to get across to this side to play with my Tracer and my Roadhog. At this point, it's too late to rotate, but I'm just noting. This is a good example of if I'm not in position, I can't help. Everybody's over here. There's now a 3-on-1. We step forward. Trying to go after the Cassidy here is nuts. Even if you landed the shield bash, there's no way you're killing this Cassidy. He's gonna kill you. Right? Just one right click breaks your shield, and then you'll take 60 damage, and then, like, he just shoots you after that. Or the Zen can shoot you. Without shield, I mean, yeah. Alright. Vertical view. So you've gone after the Cassidy, which was a mistake. As a reminder, your Roadhog has died over here because he got no help. I don't think your Roadhog should have pushed that, for the record. I think that was a mistake by your Roadhog. But you are out of position. Your Roadhog is dead. You should know that your Roadhog is dead. The odds of you winning this fight are very, very, very low. And to compound this, you get low. You're definitely going to die in the next second. You pop Rally here to try to fix the situation. There's no way Rally's going to save you here. This is like none of the things that you did here were right. This is very unfortunate. I don't think you guys even get back to the cart. Oh, you can do. We get back to the cart. Okay. All right. So we get back to the cart here. Oh yeah, you're going to follow your Tracer to the left. Right. Try to pack her. You lose your hog though, so there's nothing you can do here. Yeah. Alright. And then on defense, alright, here we are. You're over here, I think presumably trying to help the Widow in a duel. I don't think this is a reliable thing to do, honestly. And I don't think it's a good use of your time. I think you're probably just trying to figure out what to do, period. And then, like, I think it's okay. But I would note, it's like, okay, Hog's down here, they're going to push through gate, I want to be in position to help my tank. So I'm going to be playing like down here, packing, whip-shotting, whatever it ends up being, using Inspire. Being up here gives you no value. See, they're just fighting. What am I doing right now? They don't even have a Widow on their team. Like, they don't have any dive. There's nobody who can go for your Widow at all. This is like a huge waste of your time. Okay, so Ramacha's pulled in. I don't even know that I would whip shot that because Ramacha's currently out of position. Like, he does not want to be here. That's why he's walking backwards. Don't whip shot people in the direction they're trying to go. If they're coming forwards, whip shot them backwards. If they're going backwards, consider whether or not that whip shot actually makes any sense. So, for example, his is about to expire right now. Oh man, yeah. So if you did not whip shot him, he would be here, not here, which might result in a kill. Yeah. I know we weren't covering micro stuff, but we'll cover micro stuff anyway, or at least some micro stuff. All right. So
I think what you're trying to do here is you're trying to create some space on the left. The thing is, you're not actually creating any space because the Life Weaver is dodging it because like he's not going to shoot you anyway because he's a Life Weaver. And Cassidy doesn't care about you at all. He's just trying to poke out the Widow. Like nothing you're doing here, you standing here is not stopping them from moving forwards. Your priority has to be, I need to play here to help my tank out as to whatever's going to happen. So for example, we're going to see that that hook happened. And if you're playing here, remember, Ramatra without Nemesis is not dangerous to you at all. If that hook happens, you're here and you can help burn down the Zen who's now out of position. Right? Like, see? Now the Zen's on the right side. If you were playing here, you could suddenly turn here with your Tracer, go up and kill the Zen. Those are the things that you should be doing, not trying to like stand off against a Cassidy at this range and be like, oh, I'm scary, don't step forward. He doesn't care. You're not slowing him down at all. Alright, so you go in for the junk, which I think is fine, because I think the junk dives in. What happens here? Where the hell does the junk come from? Well, yeah, what the heck? Yeah, I think this is fine what you do here, trying to go after the junk, right? Somebody's got to deal with them. But the problem is, like, you've just lost all space control, right? If we start from here, what do we control? We control this space, sort of, it's being contested. This space, they control behind the statue. And this space over here is not being contested. Like, you standing here, as I mentioned, does not actually discourage the Cassidy from walking forwards. He's not walking forwards because he's shooting your Widow first. So that's kind of like the biggest problem here. Now as we watch, the Junkrat's going to land in, which means your team is now boxed into this space right here. And now you're like, oh, okay, you're going to come out here and try to control it. But, like, you can't really win against Junkrat. Like, as we mentioned, you go for one hit, you take one shot, now you hold your shield. Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about as to, like, why Brig doesn't work against the Junkrat. I think arguably you actually probably shouldn't have engaged that at all, because with your flank open to the Cassidy, he just blows you up. Now, the poor Roadhog is trying to control all the space. Like, he has to fight Hotel, and he has to fight Point. Usually, tanks only have to deal with one or the other, and their support / DPS deal with the other side. But this Roadhog has to do everything. I feel bad for the Roadhog. There's like really not much that the tank could have done here differently. So, with that, you guys lose it. Alright, we're holding gate. So, I think, again, if you bash away, or your Tracer's dead. I guess if your Tracer's dead, if you want to disengage from this side, would. But, like, the thing is, your Hog is playing here. You know what I mean? Like, your Hog has no escape route. I think I just fight it out here. I think this is a good example where I think I just die with the tank. Because there's no win scenario here if the tank dies. So I think playing here, like, playing back, and then whip-shotting the Ramatra to kite is the value. And then you'd be here to help against the Junkrat. For the record, when you hide behind the corner like this, the tank doesn't get inspired from you because you're blocking LOS. I think with full health, I think you have to like jiggle peek here and stay in the open to some extent. Like the Cassidy pushes you or shoots you, fine. But until then, I think you need to maintain LOS of your tank to give him the healing. Oh, missing that whip shot's devastating. Alright, we're gonna come towards the end. Again, one thing I note here is like your team is not even close to winning this match. This is like one of the most one-sided games that I have seen. And it's because I would argue this is actually more one-sided than some matches where like one team full holds and then they cap on the other way. Because like if you feel like fight after fight after fight, you can feel how little value your team is able to get against the opposing team. Your team is like really, really, really struggling to like get any kills. So you're coming up here trying to help the Roadhog. He's obviously like super overextended. He pops Whole Hog here. Okay. I think this is kind of a messy situation. I think I really want to go for support, but like support's too far away, so I guess this is the best call. I would be looking to pack the Roadhog. He's critical. That has to be the priority. I also hear there's somebody else in this room, right? When I'm here, I hear the Cassidy in the room. So I'm looking with the Zen outside here. No one here is going to die. I'm looking to turn in and then probably shield bash and commit on the Cassidy right now. I think missing this is a disaster. Yeah, now you just get hunted down. Okay, Nano gets popped. Oh, man, this is a really bad misplay. So you get nanoed, which means I have to go, right? So with Nano here, I just fight the Ramatra. For the record, you can actually tank Ramatra with the Ana healing you nonstop, because Ana heals for 92 health a second, and Ramatra only does 80. So you can just literally face tank the Ramatra without Nano. But with Nano, for sure you need to be fighting this. Like, your instinct here cannot be running away. It has to be engaging right now. And arguably, right now, you should have whip shot earlier, but at this point, whip shot him to slide him against the wall to buy your Ana time. But even beyond those things, you need to be packing the Ana. Oh my god. Hey. Yeah, I mean, it's very possible you play Brig well in other games, but in this particular game, your Brig play is like way below the level of Masters 4. Like, I don't even think that I would qualify your Brig play her as like diamond level value. I think this is like into the plats at this point. There's like so many misplays here on a micro basis and a macro basis that I think are very problematic. Again, part of this just may be the composition. You're just not used to it, especially people who don't have a lot of hours. They can look great in one game, and they can look bad in another game because they're not used to certain lineups or compositions or whatever it ends up being. Because I think you're really having trouble figuring out like what your job is in this game, and you're generally playing really, really safe, but you're not getting any value that way. All right, I'm gonna stop there. Hopefully this is helpful.